Hello! Welcome to a workshop on funding your study abroad. This is a guide to study abroad scholarships and lots of tips to help improve your essays. For each study abroad scholarship application, there's normally at least one essay, and so we're going to focus a lot of our time on that to try to help you build the best possible case to get funding for your study abroad program. This presentation is brought to you by the Office of International Education and Development, found in the Plymouth Student Union in Suite 321 across from the Dean of Students' office. So where do you start? There are a couple of different ways you can start. Perhaps you have already, or you can find a program. These are going to be really individual and specific to you based on many factors, including your interests, your major, perhaps you are doing language learning. And so I'm going to tell you ways, if you have not already started that part of your journey, to start that part as soon as possible. Or perhaps finances are very important to you, and so you have chosen to start with looking for scholarships. That is also perfectly fine. We're going to look at both. Hopefully, if you are starting with scholarships, we're a couple of semesters at least before your travel abroad. There are scholarships that you can get at the last minute, but applying really early for stuff and having a good plan will help you maximize how many scholarships you can apply for. Then we'll walk through applying for those scholarships, and hopefully if you've done a lot of good work and seen the right people and really put time and effort in, we can see you awarded at least one scholarship and you can profit. Profiting might also mean just not paying as much tuition. Alright, so how do you choose a program? I've told you they're very personal, right? They're very set to your individual needs and wants. And so our advisors are here to help you. I'm going to show you where to go. So there's a link here that will be in this slide deck, and then also I'll show you from our Study Abroad website. Alright, so if we go to that link, it takes you to this page, but I'm also going to start you off from our front page. So this is the front page of our International Education website, and you can see there's a quick link right here that's Education Abroad Advising. That's where we are. So the first step that we like to encourage is to attend a Study Abroad 101 session. So these sessions are going to give you a broad overview of study abroad. They're going to let you know what questions you should actually consider and give you resources and allow you the opportunity to look things up on your own time and at your own pace, because this is such an individual process for each person. There are a lot of moving pieces to any study abroad, and if you're adding scholarships, that adds more pieces. So our recommendation is that you attend this first, and you can also do this on your own, at your own pace entirely via this website. So we really recommend that you do that first, and I recommend that you do that even at this stage, perhaps right after you watch this workshop if you have not already. And then, once you've done that, if you have additional questions and need more tailored advice, there are a lot of advisors here who can help you. And you can schedule an appointment with any of them, or you can also come to walk-in advising. And this you do not need an appointment for, and like I said, our office is on the 3rd floor of the Plymouth Student Union for these. Alright, so let's say that you have done that. You are ready, you've perhaps even found your program or a few programs that you think might work. Where do you find scholarships? So the best place to find scholarships is our searchable scholarship database, housed on our website. Here we've done all the research for you and made this searchable and hopefully as easy as it can be. It's still going to look overwhelming, and we're about to go through it, and I'm going to show you what you can look for. And then we'll come back to this slide. Alrighty, so this is our searchable scholarship page. So we're on the Office of International Education and Development's website, and then we're going to go to scholarships. And once we're here, there's a few different things we can do. So there are scholarships and advising appointments, workshops like the one you're in right now. We're also going to go over the OIED scholarships first and foremost, because that is the smallest pool of applicants you're going to find, most likely, because they're only open to Appalachian students who are studying abroad through approved programs. And then we're going to go into our scholarship database. And you'll notice that OIED scholarships is also in our scholarship database, but I want to give you the most opportunity to maximize that and draw attention to it. So we're going to go into OIED scholarships. So 3 times a year we open the OIED scholarship application. And we have large ranges of when you can travel for each application cycle, and that's on purpose. We want students to be able to think in advance of their study abroad program, and we also don't want to let any student be starting too late that they wouldn't be able to apply for a scholarship. So most likely you're starting early enough that either you fit into all 3 of these categories, hopefully, or you don't fit into one yet and you can see the one coming that you fit into. We have an application cycle open now, and it will close on November 2nd, and that is for all travel between December 1st of the current year to December 1st of next year. So we encourage students to apply early so that you will know well in advance if you have a scholarship. And if you do not get a scholarship, you can ask for feedback. The people who would give you feedback are not the readers of the application, so they can give you feedback in an unbiased way based on what the readers said, and then you could reapply this next cycle, hopefully. For some of you, that won't be the case. For some of you, if you're starting a little bit later, and that's perfectly fine, perhaps you are traveling on January 15th, you would only be able to apply for this cycle. And then you would just want to put as much work as is humanly possible into your scholarship essays so that you can really make the best case for yourself. So, our scholarships range from between $250 to $2,000. I call them our scholarships because they're run out of the Office of International Education and Development. So again, these are only available to students who are Appalachian students and are going on approved programs. Those can be degree-seeking, they can be full semester programs, they can be faculty-led programs, student teaching abroad, IASEs, which are International Alternative Service Experiences, internships abroad. They really are for anything that you're getting academic credit for while you're traveling abroad. And if you ever have a question about that, just ask. That's the easiest thing to do. So, you don't have to know the exact program that you're going to be enrolled in when you apply, but you will have to start an application within a few weeks of receiving the scholarship. So it's important that you at least have a good idea of where you would want to go. It's also important that you have a good idea of where you would want to go, because once we look at the questions, which is what we're doing now, you can see that they're really focused on that. So our application consists of just 2 essay questions, and each one is 4,000 characters maximum. You may not need to write 4,000 characters. You just want to write enough where you fully answer all aspects of each question. That is really important. So the first question is, each international experience is unique and destinations vary greatly. What factors did you consider when choosing a program or destination? And how will this experience impact your personal, academic, or professional goals? So this goes back to what I've just told you about each program being very unique. Why did you choose your program? And when I say that, I say, why did you personally choose your program? You do not need to tell our readers the benefit of study abroad overall. They already know that. Really what you're looking for is, how is this going to impact you? Personally, academically, and professionally. And the best essays that we see address all 3 of those in a way that is very clear and very personal. So perhaps you've never studied abroad before. Perhaps you've never traveled abroad before. Perhaps no one in your family has ever traveled abroad before. That was definitely true for me, and I would be sure to include that in my essays. In fact, if your program fits into your academic schedule, if your classes are going toward a major or a minor, you can be specific and talk about those classes as well. And then you definitely want to touch on your professional goals. Why is study abroad going to impact them? It will, I promise. You just need to make that connection. And that means being as specific as possible about your professional goals. Now, we know those might change, and no one's going to come to you in 4 years and say, oh my goodness, you didn't do the thing that you said you were going to do in your scholarship essay, so please give me my money back. We understand that things change, circumstances change, and so just be as specific as you can to yourself at this point in your life. The second question is, what unique background and life experiences do you have which will positively contribute to your international experience and the host community? This is a 2-part question, so we're going to focus on this first part first. Be sure you answer both parts. So, for me specifically, my unique background is that I'm from a very large family. I'm one of 9 children, and that gave me a lot of experience that I would take abroad with me. I'm a really great peacekeeper and mediator. I really want to make meaningful connections with people and learn about their life. As far as other life experiences I have, I'm also a first-generation college student. So I have a lot of experience navigating situations that were not set up for my benefit. And so I can definitely take that, and that will positively contribute to my international experience because I know it's going to be difficult. And I'm resilient and I can handle that. So can you. And then when I think about the host community, I'm going to think about those meaningful connections that I talked about with my big family and the peacekeeping aspect of my skills. I can also think about things, and this might apply to you if you work through college, if you're working right now to fund your study abroad program. You have amazing time management skills and financial management skills, and these will definitely benefit you abroad. Moving on to the second part of the question, how will you continue global learning when you return home? We ask that you be very specific. The best ones we see are really well thought out and very specific, and they've made connections even with clubs or organizations on campus to really encourage people to study abroad or encourage others to travel or encourage further language learning. I won't say this is a bad example, but I see a lot of people who say I'm going to encourage others to study abroad by starting a blog. This is actually a great project. It's just not very specific. Who's your blog aimed for? How are you going to advertise it? How will you make sure people access it? Be more specific. And those are the best ones we see, are the ones that are very, very specific. So I'll give you some more tips in a few minutes, but once you apply for an OIED scholarship, by that application deadline, so in the case of the video we're currently making, November 2nd, you would know by 30 days after. So you would know by December 2nd if you have received a scholarship, which will give you enough time to then reapply if possible. Okay, so I also recommend Googling anything you're a part of, any organization you're already a part of, to see if they have study abroad scholarships. And then we are going to now go into our searchable scholarship database. We're not going to spend a lot of time here, but I am going to give you a few tips. So when you go in, you're going to see that this is a long list. I'm going to scroll all the way down. You're going to get dizzy. There are probably about 50 scholarships on here at any given time. Some of them may not apply to you right off the bat. So if you see these initials, these AIFS, API, for use with API programs only, for use with AIFS semester programs only, if you are not going on a program and you don't recognize these affiliate initials, this doesn't apply to you. If you are going on an affiliate program, be sure that you apply for these scholarships. One that I really want to mention is the Benjamin Gilman International Scholarship. So this scholarship is open to any Pell Grant recipient, and they are very achievable scholarships to get, and they are up to $5,000. If you are a Pell recipient, there's absolutely no reason not to apply for this scholarship. And actually, in applying for this scholarship, OIED will automatically award you a $200 scholarship towards your study abroad. That's how important this scholarship is to us. So other things I want to point out are we have some odd scholarships on here. There is a scholarship for if you're a silver or gold award Girl Scout. And so if you're not, that doesn't apply to you. There are scholarships specifically for diverse populations, specifically for destinations like the Freeman Asia Scholarship. Let's see. Gilman McCain is a scholarship for students who are children of active duty military members who are receiving Title IV funding. So scholarships here become very specific. And so you need to look through this list and see what might apply to you. And I know I'm breezing through it, but I want to get to a few on-campus ones. The Honors College offers scholarships. They are up to $100 per credit hour, so you would want to save this for your larger study abroad if you're an honor student and you're doing more than one. But there's no reason for you not to apply because that's a very small pool. The College of Business also has their own study abroad scholarships for programs. And both of these can be combined with OIED scholarships. You're not excluded from one because you've received the other. All right, so next once you're done with that entire database, you've looked at things, you've decided what applies to you and what doesn't, I would Google anything that you're a part of, any organization that might have an international component for study abroad. such as if you're a member of an honor society, perhaps they have study abroad scholarships, or a club or a fraternity or sorority with a national organization part, and just see if they have them. And then I would formulate a plan. So there are different types of scholarships. You're going to see this from the scholarship database, but I did want to give you an idea. There are scholarships that base a lot of what they do off financial need. Their goal is to send students abroad who might not be able to otherwise afford it. So if you don't have financial need, you would not be eligible for those scholarships. There are also identity-specific scholarships, for instance, for underrepresented or diverse populations, for student athletes, for LGBTQ students. So again, if you're not part of those populations, they wouldn't apply to you. There are major and college scholarships, such as the Honors College or the College Business Scholarships. There are place-based scholarships. There's a lot of money for travel to Japan, for instance. So you're going to see a lot of scholarships that only apply to people going to Japan or other parts of Asia. And then there are program-based scholarships, like those affiliate programs that we talked about. And so again, just be sure before you put a lot of time into applying for a scholarship that it actually applies to you. All right, so now you're ready. You're going to apply for scholarships. First, I would create a plan for applying based on priority. How much money will you receive for a scholarship? When are the deadlines? And what's the size of the applicant pool? So I would prioritize internal scholarships that are just specific to App State. I would prioritize the Gilman Scholarship if you're a Pell recipient, and then I would work your way out from there. So this is one of the only times you're going to hear this, but you can reuse your essays and your materials. Your ideas here are your own, and they're not going to change drastically, hopefully, from one scholarship essay to another. So just be sure that you change the name of the scholarship and you answer the actual questions you are being asked. All questions won't be the same. So be sure you reuse only the parts that are pertinent and that you write the answers out for the other parts and make that obvious. Have other people read your essays. People in OIED are willing to read them, people in the Writing Center. You probably have a professor too who has experience with this and would be willing to. Please be sure to have someone else read your essays and give you feedback, hopefully more than one person. And then work ahead of deadlines. If a deadline is November 2nd, you don't want to be submitting it November 1st at 11:59 p.m. because you might miss that 1 minute. You might have some technical difficulties, and almost all scholarships, including OIED scholarships, do not allow late submissions. You will just be told, I'm very sorry, good luck to you. And that's sad. We don't want that to happen to you. So be sure that you get all the things that you need in prior to that deadline. Essay writing tips. Your essay should be personal. You should use I pronouns. You should use I all through it. If you have a single sentence that doesn't mention you or something to do with your program, take that out. For instance, if you want to start with when one studies abroad, one can see many benefits throughout their academic, personal, professional. Nope. Talk about you. The reader needs to know who you are in order to want to help you get abroad. Talk about what makes you special, what makes you different. Readers are going to read oftentimes up to 80 scholarship packets, depending on what scholarship you're applying to. And so students can sometimes run together. And that's not your fault, but you need to make yourself stand out. So what about you do people find surprising or interesting? What makes you stand out in a crowd? What will the impact of the study abroad be on you? I'm going to say that word impact again and many more times in this because it matters. Most of the missions of these scholarship programs are to help impact students. So if you can make that really clear what your personal, professional, and academic impact will be, that makes a big difference. And then readers will only know what you tell them. So if you're a first-generation college student, you need to tell them that. If you've never been abroad, you need to tell them that too. Don't assume that anyone knows anything about you, because literally they will only know what you say in your essays. If you need more help, please reach out to someone in OIED. I thank you for sitting through this, and I hope this was helpful to you, and good luck to you in your scholarship applications.